Hello everybody, welcome along to the Rangers Rabble. Before I start anything at all, the reason that we are 4 minutes late is because I was trying to get the phones to work and I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. So unfortunately there will be no phone in. My apologies. The guys will attest to the fact that I was going mental trying to get it to work, jumping about like a madman. So yeah, I'm going to have to look at trying to get a better system in because it's just not working at all. But yeah, hello, welcome to the Rangers Rabble. Our week off. So I apologise to all the guys for that. But yeah, I'm joined by Mark and Kerr. Mark, how are you?
I'm good, mate. All the better for seeing you guys. It's been a while.
That's just a lie, isn't it? That's just a lie. Kerr, you done the kind of immediate reaction the day.
Yeah.
How are you?
Still sore, Martin, but apart from that, I'm not bad.
Can I just ask, because everybody will be asking, what are you wearing?
A hoodie. That always bought me, so, and it's keeping me. It's one of these one size fits all. And I'm not a big guy, so it fits me about 4 times, but it keeps me warm.
That's what I was thinking. You're off on an expedition.
One of the poo. No.
John's right, by the way. The phone lines are as much use as Gio on the board and Ross Wilson and everybody else. So yeah, there you go. Nicholas Moore, a quick good evening. Martin the Rabble from South Wales Loyal, as we are in Cardiff watching the Wales game. The last I checked, I think it was 1-0 to the USA.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, let's hope Wales can turn that around. I like to see Wales do well. And Stephen Gillespie is a new member, so thank you very much. So, welcome to the Rabble, Stephen, community. I hope that you enjoy all the extra content that you receive. The first episode of the Rangers Women's Football Show will be available for members tomorrow. I don't know what time yet, because it's getting recorded tonight, but I'll be available tomorrow. So yeah, please do like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a wee retweet and a follow on Twitter and a share and a follow, etc., etc. On Facebook, the links if you want to become a member as well, if you're on a desktop, are in the description. And just under the window, if you're on a mobile phone, then you need to go to the description. So yeah, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is no longer Rangers manager. Mark, came kind of out of the blue, did it not? Even though before the World Cup break, we were all expecting it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a shock. I think that we kind of thought that if it was going to happen, it would have happened last Monday. So I really, as I said, out of the blue, wasn't expecting it. But I think that there's maybe been a wee bit of action behind the scenes here, and I think that they're fairly far down the road with whoever it is that they want. I would think so. I think that's why they've chose to do this, because I think it's just madness if all of a sudden they've waited a week, sacked him, and then we're just going to spend the rest of this this World Cup break scrambling to try and get somebody. It seems a bit strange, but let's face it, that's kind of what's happening with this board. Everything's kind of bizarre and strange at the minute with this board. So who knows? As I said, but definitely a shock.
It was a timing more than anything, Kerr, that's got to me. That there's obviously there's reasoning behind the timing, but again, like I says to Mark, just a bit out of blue, a bit of a shock.
It was a shock at Rangers announced it, because I didn't think they had the balls to announce it, but I think they gave him his year, which passed last Friday. Then obviously they've came to a decision, he has to go. But I think obviously there's been happenings behind the scenes. I don't know if they gave him the year, because after his year there might be a clause to get him for cheaper. Who knows with Rangers, or somebody's come up who they fancy and they've thought we need to get this guy just now. I don't know, but it had to happen. It should have happened months ago. Probably should have never been appointed in the first place, but don't want to go back that way. So it's happened. We need to move on. But like I said this morning, I feel sorry for Gio, but he wasn't the man for the job. But with Ross Wilson still there, there's one still left, but I don't see him going anywhere soon.
I think it's only fair, actually, Mark, that we take a quick look at Gio and what he managed to achieve for the club, because look, it wasn't going great towards the end, but we still have to, look back and thank Gio. At the end of the day, he got us to a European final.
Yeah, it's a bit bittersweet. It's first and foremost, you need to remember that somebody's just lost their job. So, I mean, for me, I don't ever want to see, especially a Rangers manager, lose his job, because that means that we're failing and we're not doing something that we should be doing. So, for me, that sticks in my wick, because, as I said, I don't like to see it. If we're not successful, then the manager goes. So that kind of hits home a wee bit. But yeah, that he done a lot for us. But as I said, I think it's easy, and probably after a couple of seasons, we'll probably be able to look back probably a little bit more fondly on Gio's time here, because I think it's all a wee bit kind of raw still at the minute regarding performances and drop points and obviously the way it's kind of ended. So, but yeah, he's got us to a European final. Do you know what? Well, I mean, we were there, Martin, as well. But some of the best memories I've got of Rangers over probably the last year and a half to 2 year, and Gio's been a massive, massive part of that. So big thanks as well. But as I said, at the moment, because it's still raw, it seems a wee bit bittersweet that he's away, because obviously we were desperate for a change, and we were getting frustrated with the tactics and the performances and everything that goes with that. And fundamentally, and it all lands on the manager's head. So as I said, that's my feeling. Is this? I'm happy, but I'm not happy. It's a strange feeling. It's a little bit surreal, but it had to go. It's as simple as that.
He did. He did. I think this is probably the way it's best put, Kerr. Some of the best European nights of my life, and among some of the worst. Does that kind of sum up Gio's kind of managerial time at Rangers?
Sums up Gio and sums up this team this season, doesn't it? It's been great. European nights at Ibrox last season were tremendous. Some of the nights, especially the Dortmund game and getting to the final. You'll never forget that. I know we lost, but you'll never forget just getting there and then winning the Scottish Cup for the first time in many years. But they were good highlights, but so many bad times as well, didn't he? And I just think his time is up long before it was just now. But I don't want to look back. I know you don't like seeing them losing a job, but in the day, he's still getting paid, and he's getting paid a hefty bunch. So I wish I did. If I get paid off, because I probably wouldn't. But I just like to say, everybody, thank you for the comments about my hoodie. Some have been really funny. So keep up.
To be fair, it is horrendous.
That is Martin. But see, when you're freezing because you've got broken ribs or cracked ribs, whatever you want to call it, and your wife buys it, you wear it. So
he's got to pull out the cracked ribs, and that just defeats any argument you can use against him. Hello to Andrew McDonald, new member. Thank you, welcome. I think that makes us 7 away from 200 members on YouTube, which is absolutely crazy. We'll come to, obviously, the title of the show is who will be the next Rangers manager. We will come to that. But I just want to spend a wee 5 minutes just obviously Mark discussing Gio, etc. There's a few people, Ross Clark as well, we're very own Ross Clark, Mark, who says, look, he cost us a league title last year and he's done the same this year. So there'll be supporters who look back fondly because of the European run, but if you actually take a deep dive into Gio's management of Rangers, I know what happened in previous seasons, but we fell away last season after having a 6-point lead, and we're already, 9-10 points behind them with 15 games gone.
Yeah, it's just not good enough. Simple as that. Absolutely not good enough. For me as well, dropping points is one thing, but it's the performances as well that were killing me, absolutely killing me. And I could see the slide. I could see it happening, and I could see it week in, week out, getting worse and worse and worse, until the inevitable. We had to go. So, but it was just a hard watch towards the end, especially towards the end. It looked as if the team had just chucked it. The players weren't playing for him, running for him, trying for him, which to me is a basic as a Rangers player that you must give 110% for that jersey. It's a given. It's if you pull that blue top on, then That's the absolute bare minimum that we will accept. So for me, that told a story in itself. As I said, Gio, I think he come in and he got a good bounce when he come in. But we forgave him for the turnaround and the dropping points, where he's been 6 points clear and all of a sudden losing the league the way we did because of the European nights and the run in Europe. Fantastic, but as I said, if you look at the bigger picture, probably decent in the cup, decent in Europe last season. I think this season was a step too far for him. But in the league, nowhere near good enough. It's as simple as that. I don't care who you are. If you sat and watched that Rangers team, you could see the decline, and it wasn't fun to watch at all. It really wasn't. So for me, it's a month too late. To be perfectly honest, I would have done it. See, when we were 2 points, it gave us a fighting chance. I think that 9 points is just a bridge too far as I'm concerned. You get somebody in, it's going to take them a wee bit to get the team firing again, the fire back the players' bellies as well. So for me, I'd have done it at least a month ago, with the view of getting us fired up and getting us back into this league. Because I think for me, I think the league's done no matter who you bring in.
I think this season, unless there's a dramatic turnaround in both us and them, I think the league is done. Torrance. On the run, remember, God, the members are flying in the night. Thank you very, very much. Welcome to the Rabble community. I hope you enjoy all this extra stuff you get behind the scenes. Kerr, I was listening to, and I probably shouldn't have been, but I was listening to TalkSport, and Simon Jordan and Martin Keown we're discussing Gio just before I'll bring in Mr. Clark. Hello, Mr. Clark. How are you? I'm about to. In fact, I'll put this question straight to you, Ross, because you'll probably shout at me. But I'll put it to you. I was listening to TalkSport. Martin Keown and Simon Jordan were discussing, obviously, Gio being sacked, and Simon Jordan was making the point that a run to the Europa League final and a cup win should have bought him more time. What would your response be to that?
My response would be to that: any money we made, we never reinvested. If we were a 6 point league in the calendar year, there's been a 15-point swing between where we were when he came in and now. We got to a European final. He took off potentially a penalty taker in order to bring on Aaron Ramsey, who hadn't kicked the ball and then missed a penalty. So some of his decisions in that final were bonkers as well. As I said when I was in the chat before I so rudely interrupted you, for me, Van Bronckhorst, I'll remember Van Bronckhorst the manager the same way I remembered Kai Senior. Clueless, nowhere near it, nowhere near what we require as a Rangers manager. Erratic signings, bonkers tactics, and essentially Tav arguing with the Union Bears up at Perth, just like Pedro in the fucking hedge. So for me, the full thing, mate, was a shit show from start to finish, and that's how I'll remember it. Great player, terrible manager. Same as Alan McCoist. Great player for us, terrible manager.
We could have a full show, I think, on Alan McCoy's years at Rangers, but that's a discussion for another day. Maybe we'll do that for the members at some point. But Kerr, is that fair what Ross is saying? The league that we play in is a lot different to down south. Obviously, managers in the middle of the table, if they got their team to a European final or whatever and won a cup, would probably get a season. Is that just not the way it works up here, is it?
No, it isn't, Martin. And I think when you're up here, you're basically in a league with two people. I know there's other teams there, but if you don't win the league and you finish second, it's failure in Scotland. And they got us to a final, fair enough. We'll always be remembered for that. But we were awful in the league. He should have been sacked after the Celtic game, the start of the season when we lost. And I think he got extra leeway because of the final, but just because he played with us. He was an ex-player. And I think that came into as well. He's an ex-player. We'll give him a wee bit extra rope. And in shooting, you have to be in football. you're only as good as your last performance, and some of his performances this season were brutal. Let's be honest, none of us actually enjoyed watching the last few games. We were fearing the games, even if we won, we were being more negative and maybe positive just because it wasn't enjoyable. And I think if you ask the players, they'll probably say the same to you. So I think there'll be a lot of players are now thinking, thank God he's away. So I don't know how they'll respond. Depends who we get in next. But you remember him for what he did, but I think he was here too long, to be honest with you. But I did say at the start he shouldn't have been here, but I think he was here too long. I think we were just lucky with the final. I'm not saying lucky, but I think we were just at the right place at the right time. And the players were still playing under the old system with Gerrard, and then he tried to change it. It didn't really work. He did change it once or twice last season in European games, and you thought Gio's got something here, but then that kind of fell away, and it was like his plan didn't work. He never really had a plan B, so it was going downhill very fast this season, and I'm just surprised he last season until this time. But like I said, I think they gave him his full year for some reason.
Well, Jordan makes a point. We were warned by the Feyenoord fans. We were. We absolutely were. We had them on, and what's happened's kind of what they said was going to happen, only it's happened a wee bit earlier. I think that obviously what happened through in Feyenoord. Mark, is Ross's comparison to Pedro Caixinha fair? Well, you need to come off mute before you answer.
A little bit harsh for me, but I can see where he's going. Yeah, a little bit farcical towards the end. I think probably got a wee bit more respect for Gio because he played for the club and what he done in the game. But I can see where he's come from. For me, a little bit harsh. But yeah, I can see where he's coming from. But look, that is what it is. He's no worked. They brought him in, like you said. The Feyenoord fans told us exactly what was going to happen. They were not overly enamoured with him at all, even though they won him the league. So, as I said, hindsight's a wonderful thing. In it, 2020, we were all shouting for the rooftops when he came in, and all of a sudden, the wheels fell off fairly quickly. So, as I said, the comparison, yeah, I get it, but for me, it's just a little harsh.
I think what we're going to hear a lot of, Ross, is well, first of all, Falsey, Dave King would have volleyed him at the door by now. I think that's probably fair, even though we aren't necessarily a club that's known for sacking managers. It's not usually the way we go about it. But test video, I'm looking forward to watching Rangers again for the first time, for the first game this season. They've been brutal to watch. So, Ross, the players now don't really have any excuses left, do they? When we come back from this break, regardless of who the manager is, it's all down to them.
Aye, you've got to hope that we get that new manager bounce, that we can kick on and get some results. We've got big games, obviously within our first 8 games on the way back. We've got Celtic, Hibs, Aberdeen. We've got a lot of games tight between now and kind of the middle of January that could define our season. If we can win a couple of these games and beat Celtic on the 2nd of January, you could be looking at that 9 points being 3 points, 5 points. I've said all along, Martin, I'll never concede the league until it's mathematically done. But under the brand of football we were playing, the league was done. If we can get somebody in who can get a tune out of the players the way Gerrard did, and I don't see why it's not insurmountable. A 9 point gap is not insurmountable over there's still 3/4 of the season left to play. So we've seen Helicopter Sunday. What was it? 5 points behind with 3 games to go or something in Helicopter Sunday. Am I right in saying that? So depending who we get in, this is the question. And also, ideally, I would like to get somebody in yesterday because I want the players back at Auchenhowie this week, getting tore in and getting fit and getting sharp, because I think we can all agree we were absolutely nowhere near it when we finished up. And I hate to think the shape they're going to come back in after 3 weeks off.
Well, straight back to you, Ross. The problem we've got is that the man who made the decision to sign Gio and Ross Wilson is still at the club. So do we trust Mr. Wilson to get this one right?
No. I said earlier on when I was on with Kerner for the reaction, he would be the next one out the door for me. I know that director of football model is being used by all the top European teams that have got billions of pounds a year turnover and all this assets and whatever else that need to be looked after. Did Walter Smith have a director of football? Am I right in saying Ange Postecoglou's not got a director of football?
No, I think it does. Or it's like a head scout type thing. I can't mind the boy's name.
So I'm
not that obsessed. So.
My point is, well, there you go. I didn't even know they've got one, so that tells you. But I think they can tell you your kitman's date of birth, but we don't even know if they've got a director of football. It's class, isn't it? I would do away with a full director of football model. I don't think it's worked at Rangers. I think that there's too much influence being given to one guy. Now, our board said that when they were talking about the guy, sorry, that wasn't the board, it was the deputy Bennett. When he gave his chat, we can't have one person sitting in the boardroom. Well, when that filters down, you can't have one person making all the decisions, football related either. I don't think we as a club at this precise moment in time really need a director of football. We've got a head of youth academy, we've got a head of scouting, and we've got a manager. So why do we need somebody sitting above all them taking up a wage when it's clear it's not working? That's what it seems to me. It seems to me as if it's just no worked at our club. I don't think it's something that's really needed. I'm saying at our level, obviously we're a Champions League level club. We got there this year, but for the Ross Wilson will not be. He'll not be. I know he wears kiddies' clothes, but he'll not be on a kiddie's wage. You know what I mean?
No.
We're now paying Van Bronckhorst his contract. He's essentially on gardening leave, which is good because the shrubbery was a bit overgrown since Ali chucked it. But he's essentially on gardening leave, so that's another wage. That's a full backroom staff. We've got to be paying for two managers here, and for me, Ross Wilson doesn't do enough because he was well sought after and he'll be on a decent wage.
Well, Ross Wilson was obviously the man who negotiated Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's contract, so he's effectively negotiated a contract that Rangers can't afford to terminate. So, you know, Big Dave, bittersweet, £10 super chat. Thank you very much, Big Dave. Much appreciated support. Bittersweet Gio will always be a legend for us as a player. That shouldn't change, but as a gaffer, you have to put your hands up and admit failure and move on. Now get the Ibrox credit card and go get Beale. Now, I do want to talk a bit more Ross Wilson, etc., but Big Dave has paid his money, so he will get his question put to you, Mark. What does it? Hold on. What does that mean, Ross?
That's Big D. It's a D. Look.
Oh, it's a D, right? I thought that. I'm no down with the kids, right? So I don't know what that means. I'm an old man. Mark, Michael Beale will of course be mentioned until the day that we appoint a manager. Do you see that happening?
I think it's possible. I mean, I read today that his buyout clause was about 1.5 million. So I think it's a doable thing. I think whether you can talk him into coming back with this board, I think he would need some big assurances, and I don't know whether the board would be willing to kind of give them those assurances that it would be looking for. I would think. I've listened to a couple of his interviews recently, and he done one with what's his face at BT Sports. What's his name? Anyway, we ginger guy. Anyway,
Daryl Curry.
That's a fella, yes. So, and he spoke really well, but he did kind of. He never actually came out and said it, but he did say that there wasn't a lot of money, and they did go and ask for more money and ask for backing, and pretty much he said the board rather than come out and go like the board weren't giving us any money, they said that the board were as helpful as they possibly could. But for me, that's papering over the fact that the board weren't willing to give them money that they desired to kick on and to progress this team. Now, for me, that's the reason why Gerrard left in the first place, and I think Beale went with him. So I'd love to see him back. I think he's my second choice. My first choice would be Knutsen, the Bodo Glimt manager. But if we couldn't get him, I'd be more than happy with Beale, because I think he's a tactical genius. I really do. I think you could tell straight away that he was the brains of the outfit behind Gerrard. Gerrard was the focal point in the centrepiece, but Beale was the man. It was his work on the training pitch and his formations and stuff like that, and his tactical nous. So for me, Beale is definitely I would say in the running. But it's whether he wants to come back or not is the big thing, isn't it? That's the problem.
That is the issue. We'll come back to Beale in a minute. Just want to finish up on Ross Wilson. So Eminem, down there in the left-hand corner. I'm talking to you. He does look a wee bit like Eminem with that big jacket on, doesn't he? I've got to say. I thought Ross would have had something to say by now about his choice of hoodie. But Ross he must like Kerr. You must like him. Kerr, do you expect to see any movement in terms of Ross Wilson? I know you've made your thoughts on Ross Wilson clear since the day that he came in to Rangers. Do you expect him to be packing his bags?
No, because he's making the board money. He's making the club money. He's been in a position, the board trust him. He's there, man between them and the football operation and the players and stuff. So he's not going anywhere unless Ross Wilson wants to go somewhere. So I think as long as he wants to be there and the board up there, he stays. And I've seen all these. Some of these are great. I've got to tell you, Martin, I need to message you after this, let you know where to buy this, so your mother can get one. I've seen a comment.
Jim Sloan, £10 super chat. Thank you very much, Jim.
I'll sign that at Christmas, Jim. I can't go to the high notes because my ribs are sore, but I'll sing it at Christmas. Listen, I don't really care what he says. I'm nice and warm in here with this one. And when your wife buys you something, you wear it. If you don't wear it, then I'm not just a sore ribs, I'll have sore nuts as well. So, no, I think.
What you don't know, Martin, is he actually got a job delivering for Amazon. So I
can't lift the parcel, Ross, to do. No, I think Ross Wilson's going to be a Martin for the foreseeable future unless he decides himself he wants to go elsewhere. Because I don't think the board will sack him. If the board do sack him, it's left to them to pick a manager then. And we've seen what they've done before to pick managers. So basically, we don't know who we trust here.
That is a tricky. That's a double-edged sword, Ross. Do we get rid of a Ross Wilson and leave it in the hands of Douglas Park, Stuart Robertson, etc., to try and pick a new manager, or do we just go with what we've got in Ross Wilson?
I think we need to get rid of Ross Wilson. As I said to you before, I don't trust Ross Wilson. But if we get rid of Ross Wilson, the board are.
So who makes the decisions then, Ross?
The board would have to make that decision, Martin. And their track record of Murray, McDowell, Jimmy Nicholl. There's a recurring theme with bosses that we've brought in when we've went for the Old Pals Act, and none of them were very good. I don't know who I would like to see in. I see the director of football. There's like 3 different versions. You've got director of football, sporting director, technical director. Like I would like to see somebody like Souness maybe as a technical director, just literally dealing with the off the field aspects and allowing a manager to come in and they work on the training field, work with the transfers, work with the squad, player contracts. The manager's in charge of all that. I'm saying Souness because I think it's got to be somebody that's not going to take any shit. Like, for me, Gio's not getting a tune out of Ryan Kent. Look at Morelos' weight. So Gio isn't getting a tune out of him. I'm looking for my director of football to then be on Gio's case, saying, what the fuck makes Morelos in? Why is he being allowed to cut a boot like that? Because that's the next step up the chain. I can't imagine somebody like Souness, if he was in that role and paying Morelos 35 grand a week. I can't imagine Souness sitting and saying to Van Bronckhorst, I'm quite happy paying him 35 grand a week to be fat on that ginger guy Ross that sits on the Rangers rabble. I can't see. We need somebody that's ruthless. See, if you're going to have a nice guy as a manager, you need somebody in that role above who's going to hold a manager to account, which then means the manager's got to hold the players to account. Because anybody looking at our team this year will tell you that there's players there who aren't being held to account, and that's got to come back to the manager.
There's quite a few people, Mark, in the comments talking about Steven Gerrard making a possible return. I don't think that many of the fans would want Gerrard back, would they? And not because he left, but because of his performance at Villa.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. It's not for me. Not coming back. Like I've just said about on Beale, I think Beale was the brains of the outfit. I think Gerrard is Gerrard, so he's the focal point, and he was the but the reason we won 55 was because of the team, because of the collective that Gerrard brought in, which he was clever at doing. But for me, no. I mean, who's you bringing with him? So I think for me that's a backward step. We've been there, we've done that. I think we need to move on. For me, we need somebody that's forward thinking and taking Ross's point as well. Somebody that's not going to take any shit. That's the only kind of reason that I would think about considering Sean Dyche, because he will not take any shit. The likes of Morelos and stuff like that, he will terrorise the life out of them, and he'll get a tune out of them, or they'll no be here, and he'll tell them that for the word go. But for me, Gerrard, no, I don't think it's a goer anyway. I think it's a backward step for his career as well. I think his next move's probably Championship, and he's going to have to do well in the Championship to get a better job moving forward. But for me, no Gerrard, no. Sorry.
No, 100%. I'm agreeing with you. 100%. 100% no Gerrard. Before we look at some of the names we've been linked with, Kerr, regardless of who the manager is that comes in, has he got a good enough squad to be able to challenge this season? Has he got a good enough squad and a good enough set of players with the right mindset that he can come in and actually make a difference?
No, because we've only won one league in the last God knows how many years, even since Stevie G came in. These players are chucked it a few times after the Christmas break, so the mindset's no great, but he's got players there that can play better and that can probably sustain a challenge. To overturn things, I don't think so. But I think we need to bring somebody in. I'm not saying it has to be tomorrow, but it has to be before the players go back, and it has to be the right appointment, because we need to start rebuilding for next season. I know we still got half a season to go, and there's cups that can be won. I do think the league's away, but that's just me. I just think the league's over with. I don't think we can add gaps too much for me, because I still think we'll drop points. But there's cups there, the semi-final in January against Aberdeen, and the Scottish Cup still. You don't want to lose that considering we're the holders. So I think he has to plan for the following season, because at the end of this season there's going to be a big shake-up with players that are leaving and players ground. So we need somebody who's forward thinking, can plan ahead, and so you get somebody in the now.
Do you go along with that, Ross?
I think we need somebody in. Ideally, we've got 4 weeks. I want somebody in, as I said earlier on yesterday, Martin, because the longer they've got to work with the squad of players, the better, as far as I'm concerned. If this rumbles on now for another 2-3 weeks before we appoint a manager, and then we get to the week before Hibs and we bring a new guy in, that's not any use. And that's what I said this morning on the pod. I hoped that that there's been something happened in the background that's triggered a chain of events, which is why the day out the blue, all of a sudden he's gone. whether it be somebody's agent approaching the club and saying aye, whether it be the club approaching somebody's agent and putting the feelers out and them saying, well, if you want me, come and get me the new, because I'll have a bit of time to work with the squad or whatever. I fail to think that we have sacked a manager the day with no inclination of who's going to be next in the door at this stage of the season when we've now got a 4-week break. What I would say is players will now hopefully have a clean slate. I've seen a few Morelos supporters in the comments. How anybody can support that guy at the now, I've got no idea. I noticed tonight Cholak back in his training gear. He's back in training. Sakala's back in training. Hadji, I said in the group chat the other night, mate, Hadji has no kicked a ball in a year. And in his Instagram videos, he looks physically leaner and in better shape than 70% of our playing squad now. How's that happening? That needs sorted, Martin, and it needs sorted rapidly. So I want a new guy to come in, have minimum 3 weeks working with the squad before we play Hibs in December. That would be my ideal thing to happen, and make players work for their place in the team and make players work to be in a match day squad. For me, the shape Morelos is in, he shouldn't even be in a match day squad. He's always doing somebody who wants to work during the week at training and get herself in a good condition out of place in the squad. You're on mute, Martin.
You know, I'm on mute, and I was making you what hear the point I made there. By the way, it was outstanding. But aye, no, Mark, it's a strange one there. The timing of the announcement. You've got to think that look, there's a few reasons. Got to be a few reasons behind it. Either one, they were working out a financial package, and it's just took this length of time to get the financial package sorted, or they were waiting to see if there was another manager out there before sacking Gio. But it does seem awfully strange after releasing that video of Gio being here for a year on Rangers TV to then suddenly sack him. So the timing just seems...
Yeah, I think that they've obviously sounded out a couple of managers and a couple of people, and I think they've obviously had some decent feedback for maybe 2 or 3 of them saying that they'd be interested, blah blah blah, and I think they've thought to themselves, do you know what? Let's pull the trigger now. It's a strange time, and that's the only reason I could think they've done it. Either that, or they're bricking themselves for this AGM coming up. But I just want to reiterate what Ross said as well. My first thought was when he sacked him, the day when I heard he was sacked, was get all these players recalled back to Ibrox and get them all training and get them all running and get them all fit. And
Can I just interrupt you
whoever
very quickly, Mark? Sorry. It is now USA 1, Wales 1. Gareth Bale with a penalty for Wales.
God bless America.
There we go. So it's currently USA 1, Wales 1. My apologies for interrupting you, Mark.
Yeah, no, as I said, that was my first thought. My first thought was get all the players recalled. Exactly what Ross said. The shape of them the now, with God knows how many games under their belt, and they can't run the length of themselves. So for me, I would just be like that. 3 weeks holiday, not a chance. Get back, get in about it. And the new manager, I think they've got somebody up their sleeve. Or they've had 2 people, 2 preferred candidates that have gave them positive feedback regarding the job. So I think that's why they've pulled the trigger. And hopefully within the next week we maybe get something back on who's coming in. But I think it's too strange a time to do it. Wait a week, then do it with another 4 weeks left of the break. So for me, I think that you pull the trigger now, bring whoever it is in, get all these players back, get them another week or whatever. Just say, look, by the way, your 3 weeks is cut to 2. Get your asses back here. I want you fit. We've got a new manager coming in. That's what I'll be thinking.
One of those names here is a man who's went from, I think, 50 to 1 down to like 71 or something. And now I don't know. I don't understand betting bookies stuff. Like I don't really do any of that stuff because I don't understand it because I'm thick, right? Gerard Sione, care.
Yeah.
I've never heard him. I'm just going to tell you, I've never heard of the guy.
To be honest with you, man, I don't know a lot about myself apart from when we played them. He was their manager, wasn't he? So, well, young boys. But I don't know why he's in. Obviously, there's something behind it. A lot of people put money on it, and that's why he's come right into it, or somebody knows something. But he was at Leverkusen for a season and then get a sack. So I don't know anything about him. I don't know if Mark or Ross do, but I don't know anything about the guy, to be fair. So I couldn't give you much hope on that.
I'm just waiting on Ross Clark jumping in with all the statistics because he'll know absolutely everything about him, Ross.
Well, I don't. I do know that he took young boys to the 13th league title and the 14th league title. Martin, I read that before I came on. So actually wondering how there was so many Tims in the chat, but obviously that's why. Because we're talking about young boys. I think this guy seems like the real deal, mate. He was at Leverkusen, finished third in the Bundesliga, which was their highest position. See, you knew I was going to give you the stats. That was their highest league position for something like 20 odd year. And then he got chucked. Now, I think they had a bad opening few games and he ended up getting sacked pretty quickly off the back of that, Martin. I believe he likes to play a 4-2-3-1 formation, but with attacking wing-backs and the two sitters covering the middle of the park. So that's about all the knowledge I've got of the guy. And it was all...
Wikipedia
there, Ross.
A 60... He's got a 58.9% win rate over his career, Martin, which doesn't seem great, but he has went to young boys at a time when they were struggling and won the league back 2 seasons in a row. And he also, as I say, was in the German league where he finished third with Leverkusen. So there's games in that are losable games. So possibly not as good a stat as you would hope. I always think Rangers managers should be mid-60s, 70s. But having came through, the teams he's came through, probably 60% is a good average.
Ross, Curry Muncher has put that I warned you before the pod. No chance you had that up your sleeve offhand. Did me and you talk before I started tonight?
Okay, I'm going to show Curry Muncher well, WhatsApp, mate, because as you can see there, you just sent me the link and said jump on if you want. There was absolutely no discussion of that, none whatsoever. So no, listen. If there's anything you don't need to know, I'll know it. If it's sensible and you should know it, I've not got a clue. But dumb statistics and stuff like that, I'm top of the class.
So is that somebody that excites you then, Ross? Would you be happy with him?
Mate, I don't know enough about him. I've only read a Wikipedia page.
But you've read his stats. Does his stats impress you?
Mate, it says he likes to play attacking football with his teams being fit, which is everything we've not had and what we did have under Gerrard. If you can, he's obviously got experience of winning a league and then defending it, which is something we've not done now for however long, and also taking a kind of mid-table German team in Leverkusen to third behind the big two, Dortmund and Munich, is you can't really argue with that, I don't think. So this guy could be good. Knutson could be good. Beale could be good. Look, mate, there's lots of names that are getting the juices flowing, Martin, you know what I mean? Getting them bubbling. But listen, we'll see, because Ross Wilson could very easily appoint Kenny McDowell and Graham Murray.
Oh God, please don't. Please don't. Right, Mark, who do you want? I well know who you want, but I tell you what, we know you want, is it Knudsen
Yes,
from
yes.
Bodo Glimt?
Knudsen, yeah. Yep.
Why?
Great philosophy, great set style of play, attacking football, likes to bring youth through, has proven that he can bring young players in, make them stars, improve them. Like I said, winning leagues, doing well in Europe as well. He's no shy in Europe. It doesn't, although they're a smaller team, goes into Europe. Let's play attacking football. Let's go after them. Bet Roma 6-1. Done them 5-1 in aggregate. So, as I said, free flowing attacking football, fit. If you watch his teams attack as a unit and defend as a unit. They always have great shape. So for me, as I said, he's made some of those young Norwegian boys absolute world class stars. Some of them are ready to move for serious money. I think some of them have already moved for some serious money. So for me, it excites me. For me, he's everything that I would want. As I said, he ticks the box of he's won titles. He ticks the box of done well in Europe. Ticks the box of free flowing attacking football. Ticks the box of fitness. Ticks the box of organisation. So for me, that looking at the bigger picture, that for me is everything that I'd be looking for in a manager. See, if I was Ross Wilson, I'd be 3 foot shorter, but that would be what I'd be looking for in a manager at the Blanky Rangers, because at the end of the day, you're at Rangers, you demand to win, you demand success, and you need to move forward. You need to attack teams. You come in as a defensive manager, it's not going to be, the fans are not going to get on board with that. So Rangers fans want to be entertained. So for me, ticks lots and lots of boxes.
Listen, there was a rumour flying about earlier, and I do have a wee bit of inside info that I'm going to share with you just now, folks. DWK is asking if there's any truth in this rumour. I can confirm that Rangers have inquired about Ted Lasso. They have made. You all thought I was being serious here, didn't you? I've never get any inside info. Never. I'd love to see Ted Lasso.
I would usually push.
I know. Yeah, I can only tell you what I get told. But yeah, Knudsen, for you, I didn't even remember that the guy was the Bodo Glimt manager. I'm terrible with anything outside Scotland. But would that be a good appointment for you?
Yeah, Knudsen would be a good appointment if we see what we could do in Scottish football. I mean, I like Tedesco and all, Dominicki Tedesco, but who knows if we're going to go with somebody, a foreign manager. I'm not sure. Obviously, Beale's the one that you see social media everybody wants. I personally don't think that will happen. I think I know I said earlier on, I think it's not his time as yet. I could be wrong, but I just think no just yet for Michael Beale. But Tedesco, Knudsen are two that would excite you. But I don't know where we're going to go. I mean, I see Sean Dyche's been mentioned. A lot of people.
What's your thoughts on Dyche?
In the Premiership, he could only work with what he had with Burnley. His job is to keep him in the Premiership. So playing attacking football with Burnley in the English Premiership, he's going to get crucified every game. Playing against likes of City, Liverpool, United, Spurs, teams like that. So he's going to have to get a formation that suits his players with Burnley, because he's got a very small budget compared to the rest. But in the Championship, Burnley played attacking football. They scored a lot of goals, and they win they come up. Do you know what I mean? So you can look at it both ways. I think it'd be okay. I think Sean Dyche would be okay for appointing for us. I think he's a British manager. He knows the game. He doesn't take any shite, like Mark said earlier. So it wouldn't bore me if he was appointed. But I don't know if some of the fans will like it. But I sometimes think some fans are still living in the past where the players we sign and appointments we make, and we're not as big a club as, I'm not saying we are a big club, but not as we once were as finance-wise.
I'm going to come to you, Ross, on Sean Dyche in a wee sec, but Curry, Martin, your last info told us Bassey was happy at Rangers. It was Aribo. And there was a
Billy
Gilmore. Well, never mind the Billy Gilmore stuff, right? And the person...
Anybody who is in the Rangers Rabble group chat can tell you Martin's sources are
Red and brown.
among the worst.
I can't say where my source came from, Ross, but even you've got to admit that you couldn't have got any closer as a source for the Aribo thing.
How was your source for that one? I don't remember it.
I can't tell you.
I do.
Yes.
No, you can't get much closer, mate. No, I'll back you in that one for that.
And I can't, obviously, I don't want to say it online, but it was from a very, very good source that Aribo was happy. Maybe he was just lying to this person so that he could keep them happy. But it came straight from the lips of Joe Aribo Curry. So there you go. Ross, Sean Dyche, personally, I think I'd be quite happy with him. I genuinely would. I don't think he's this big negative Nancy that a lot of people seem to class him as for some unknown reason. I think he had a job to do at Burnley. He worked within the limits that he had to work at, and he done a very, very good job with them. People may disagree, and that's fine. But I wouldn't be too unhappy if Sean Dyche was our next manager.
Sean Dyche is a steady Eddie. He's just a steady Eddie, man. He'll work within the budget and set a team up. If you're going for somebody like Sean Dyche, who I would rather go for. Tav does what Tav does. Be Martindale, mate. Be Martindale. Outside Celtic and Rangers in the SPFL, David Martindale is head and shoulders above every other gaffer in that league. For the budget he's got, the finances he works with, I'm not saying he should be the next Rangers manager, but if you're looking for somebody who'll work within a budget and get results, then you're talking Sean Dyche.
Any manager that comes into Rangers is going to work within a budget. Any manager.
But I'm looking for somebody who's going to come in and play, who's got a record of playing attacking, attractive football, mate. If you want somebody that's got a record of keeping teams in leagues and fighting for survival, then you'll not find a better candidate than David Martindale. I don't want that type of manager. I want a manager who's got a proven record of having fit teams that go after teams. When were we at our best? Under Gerrard, when all we did was just lose the ball, go and get the ball back. Hi, Nicole. The old talking Tim's in to find out what's happening in the pod. How are you, darling?
Right,
sorry, focus. I digress. Sorry. She's so beautiful every time she walks by. I get distracted. If you're looking for a boss, if you're looking for a boss that's going to come and get you results, who's based off a managerial career of sitting in and trying to stay in a division, mate, then I would rather have somebody like David Martindale who'll cost 1/10 of what it would cost you to bring Sean Dyche in.
I think he's got more layers to him than what people think. I've listened to him talk quite a few times. Mark, you looked as if you wanted to jump in on that. Is that because you look slightly like him?
No, well, I would like to say I'm his older, better looking, bigger brother.
Is that Sean Dyche or David
both.
Martindale?
Both. I'm his John Dyche's younger brother. But what I was going to say was Dyche, I heard the story that Dyche was at Mar Hall playing golf last week. Just saying, coincidence? What do you think? What's your thoughts on that coincidence?
Probably a coincidence, to be fair.
You sure? He's mentioned us in radio a couple of times. Just saying.
Because he's been asked.
Yeah, well, obviously he's in the frame, isn't he? I would think.
Do you know, whenever I look at him, I just think of the Undertaker at the wrestling. See that mad ginger goatee beard, the big bald head. Imagine that, the lights just go at half time and Sean Dyche appears with a cowboy hat on, the big leather jacket. Doing. Paul Bearer.
I think Martindale, not a chance. Sorry.
Why?
He's just no cultured enough. I'm going to sound like a snob, but he's just no cultured enough. Can you see him talking to Croatians and talking to Spaniards, and do you know what I mean? He's just what is this wee guy talking about? Nobody's going to understand a word he says. So for me, no. All right, he might be doing a good job, but thing is as well, we all know it's a different kettle of fish at Rangers. You can bring you can bring world-class players to Rangers, and all of a sudden they're like, what's going on? It doesn't work. So it's trying to find the right fit, the right personality. For me as well, a big part of Gio no working at Rangers was his personality. For me, it was dull as dishwater, and never had that kind of aura about him. That's why Gerrard, for me, that's why Gerrard worked. Gerrard had that aura and that personality.
The one thing Martindale is not, Mark, is dull.
Oh no, he's no dull. But as I said, many creations and Spaniards and that kind of thing.
So I agree.
Right?
Right?
Understand what he's saying.
No, I kind of agree, right? But so what you're basically saying is, if you don't speak with a certain tone of voice, if you don't sound a certain way, you can't be Rangers manager.
No, what I'm saying is, it needs to be a wee bit more culture.
Can't be an Ed. Is that what you're saying? You can't be an Ed and be Rangers manager.
All right, you said it. I never said it.
But that's what you were alluding to. Let's just say it as it is.
And obviously there's the criminal record thing that's doesn't sit well with me.
Would that be a factor for you, Keir?
No, if he could do a job, no, because everybody in their past makes mistakes and you deserve a second chance in life. So, listen, if he got appointed, we back him. And I agree with Ross, he's out with Ange and I mean, when I say Gio, because he's not there anymore, out with probably Ange. He is probably the only manager in Scottish football you look at because he's done really well with what he's had to play with at Livingston. And granted, he probably does everything at Livingston. They clean the place, they pick the team, but you can't knock him for what he's done. He's done brilliant, and if Rangers looked at him, then Rangers looked at him. I mean, I wouldn't never say no to him, but I do agree with Matt. I think the Rangers will probably look at him that way and think he's not for us.
Yes.
See, Martindale took Lyndon Dykes and sold him for £2 million, turned him into a player worth £2 million. See the big boy Nubly that plays up front for them now. David Martindale has got Jason Holt, and I called it before we played, Livy. He's got Jason Holt playing at a level where Jason Holt bosses games against us. The ghost of banter years past comes in and just gets himself. I'm not saying it's pretty football, but David Martindale gets. His team are a gang. They all fight for each other. They all know exactly what they're doing. They're disciplined. They're organised. He knows. He had Celtic's number for how long? He's got our number. They always score against us. They know exactly how to play against us. A lot of people, the criminal thing, right? And that's fair enough. But as I've said on here a million times, a couple of years ago I would have been his best customer if I'd met him in a past life. So I don't understand how. Mate, I'm not being funny, but if I was still judged on my past, I wouldn't be on this podcast. I wouldn't have people wanting to talk to me about because I was the other end of that scale. Mate, the wee guy, I don't think we can be too snobby. We brought Eric McLeish in for Hibs and look what he done for us. The wee guy Martindale, because he looks and sounds a wee bit like he looks like Mark and sounds like me. We could do a no bad Halloween costume if you merge the two as a getter. I really don't think that we could scoff at somebody like that for the money he would come in for and the transformation. I think he could do what with a bigger budget, mate. He gets players playing for him, he develops players, and he plays players the way you don't get square pegs and round holes for the wee man. He plays you in your position, and he's no fear to play youths. He's no fear to have a go when he knows he's got a chance. But at the same time, if he went Champions League with him, he'd just have three big, massive centre halves in there and say, right, come and break us down.
I agree with you, Rossi. Having Bartley have done well there.
Just very, very quickly, it finished 1-1 with USA and Wales in the World Cup. So that's looking like an interesting group. Although I did hear Gary Lineker at half-time with the England game asking, should we be excited? And I'm thinking, you're playing Iran. Calm down. But there you go. Gerardo Sione is now favourite at 2-1. I don't know if that means it's going to happen. But
what that means, Martin, is there's mad knobs like Stu and JD throwing money at it.
There you go. Right, so very, very simple question to finish things up, and people in the comments, I want your answers as well. Just tell me the name. I don't want the explanation, Mark. I don't want the explanation. right? Who do you want to be the next Rangers manager? Care?
The guy I want to be the next Rangers manager hasn't even been mentioned, so because he's not even in the running. I would like John Eustace to be the next Rangers manager, but that's just me, Martin. I think he's going to be a superb manager in the coming years. He's doing really well at Birmingham, but it's not going to be him, so I'll go for Kai Knutson.
But your preference would be John Eustace.
Yeah, that's
Was that not the guy? Was that not the guy that we were linked with for years?
Everybody says that. I would try to sign him. We never did.
We never did. All right, okay. That came out of left field. We might come back to you for that, by the way. I don't know. But there you go. Mark, we kind of know, but give us it anyway.
Yeah, Knutson.
Somebody who
However you
won't
pronounce
know how to say his
That's
name.
the fella, the Norwegian boy.
Yes. And Ross, your preferred candidate for the Rangers manager's position? Who would you like to see?
I don't know, mate. I think there's a lot of candidates that are good for different reasons. I see quite a lot of people saying Bielsa. Bielsa would be a great shout because he would make use of the team we've got, get players fit. If I'm not looking to break the bank and money's tight, I would take Martindale, mate. Based on what he's done in the league. I'm not saying he'd be my first choice. I would like that wee guy that used to run Blackpool, but it sounds like a farmer. What's his name? Ian Holloway. I think him just because I love his accent. I think he's funny. I would take him just for the banter.
Did we see this, Ross? Did we see this at all? Did we see that?
Martin, what would Thomas Tuchel be looking for? Right,
he's still getting paid with Chelsea. So
would see if it meant getting rid of Ross Wilson and merging the two wages into one to go and get a guy like Tuchel or a guy like Joachim Low, somebody like that, top caliber manager. I would honestly punt that wee My Little Pony right out the building, man. I
mean, I'm not a big fan of Myra, but can we try and keep it at the tiniest bit respectful, for God's sake? I don't like him right enough. I must admit.
That Tuchel?
No, he's talking about Ross Wilson.
Ross Wilson, mate. Look at this wee man. He looks like a fucking dwarf for its Halloween as Simon Cowell.
Right, that's fine. That's plenty. That is absolute plenty. So basically, what this podcast has told us is that we've got absolutely no idea who's going to be the next Rangers manager.
I think it will be somebody foreign. I think it will be somebody that's known a job.
Well, I think clearly it's going to have to be somebody that's not in a job. Okay, just before we go, okay, Ross, jump in.
The more I've read about the ex Young Boys manager, who is a name that I was only made familiar of when he went to second in the bookies, he sounds like he could be a good shout. And also Knutson, obviously his name's been bandied about for a while, but it'll be interesting because we need to see what kind of funds are available as well. I don't see these guys coming in if there's no going to be funds available in January, because their squad needs a shitload of work, doesn't it?
It does. Mark?
Just Martin, on that boy, there's obviously when his name rocketed up the bookies list, I had a wee look and I had a wee look on YouTube for him, and he does a thing mic'd up, and it's him just on a touchline with a microphone on. And do you know what? His pattern's pretty good. He's quite funny. So that's all how I thought. Do you know what? He looks all right. He looks as if he could have a bit of a giggle, and for me, that's a big thing. As I said, personality-wise, that see if you can have a laugh and a joke with the players, and the players like you, the players will work for you, and the players will fight for you. So that for me was a very big positive when I seen that. As I said, he's got a wee bit of banter about him.
Right, I don't know when we'll be back because I did promise the guys a week off. Obviously, if there's any announcements on a Rangers manager, we'll be back as quick as possible with some breaking news. I'm going to need to try and get his phone line sorted because that's like 3 or 4 times now. It's just no worked, and it's not.
What has been noted, Martin, is I ran it for 1 week. It went smoother than Mark Seed, and now you can't get it going again.
I got it working last week, but there you go. So the episode 1 of the Rangers Women's Football Show will be out tomorrow for members. I think that's going to be round about 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We will be back, of course, if there's any announcements or whatever. Failing that, we'll be back a week today, effectively. Do you want to have a very, very, very quick chat about the World Cup, or shall we just leave it there?
I'm all right, mate. I'll have a wee chat about the World Cup if you want.
The World Cup. I can't get into it. I can't get excited about it. There's nothing about it that's just jumping out to me, Ross.
Yes. Mate, you look at the whole build-up to it's just been more politics than it has the football on show in it.
Yeah.
You've now got all the good top players dropping like flies. France's full team's all injured. And Nkunku, Benzema, players that could have made a difference for them. Watched England the day. I've got a couple of weeks off work, which has felt good for me because it means I can watch the games. I thought England looked really good, mate. The boy Saka, who obviously I've got Arsenal for the league. Having watched the documentary with that young boy after him missing the penalty in the European final last tournament, great to see him playing. I love Grealish and Foden and players like that. No, mate, I like a player with a bit of attitude. What I did see, the Iran goalkeeper, his face, Picasso painting, man. Jesus wept. Gets up, tries to play on. Absolutely incredible. I think it'll get better, man. I think it'll get better. It's trying to get through the group stages in it when you've got teams like Iran and that in it that'll just be essentially the whipping boys, isn't they?
I watched the first game. I watched the Qatar-Ecuador game. And I was hoping that Qatar were going to get spanked more than they did, to be honest. But they are terrible, Care. Like I think they would struggle to beat a League Two team in Scotland. They are rank.
They're awful. They're only there because they're hosting it, and they shouldn't be hosting it. But
Shouldn't be
that's the
hosting
reason they're there. But I agree with Ross. Once it gets through the group stages, it starts to get exciting. I've got Argentina. I put money in Argentina at the start, so I hope they win it. But I enjoy it. It's on during the day, and obviously I'm off for now, so I can lie on the couch and watch it. So it's good for me. It's happening during the day. That's all I can say. But I agree with it. England playing against Iran. Iran are awful, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And I thought England looked all right. Defensively, they are still suspect, but going forward, they're a good side.
They conceded 2 goals against a very poor team.
That's
That does have to be said. Although they are very, very good going forward. But I think Gary Lineker was getting a wee bit too ahead of himself at half time.
That's what these English commentators do. I mean, I don't mind the England team.
All
I
of it for me,
don't mind them winning. I've got family for there. My son-in-law's English, stuff like that. But the commentators just are annoying, aren't they? They're really annoying.
Totally.
There's a touch of the Rangers about Gareth Southgate and all that, playing that sentimental. Like Jordan Pickford on current form is the worst out of their 3 goalies, and he's starting just because he's seen as being the number one. Nick Pope is the best. Henderson is just after him. So when it gets to the latter stages, as I said in the group chat today, put your house on Jordan Pickford. They'll make a cunt of something, and it'll cost them their position in the World Cup. But also as well, the likes of Harry Maguire and that, they're only there based on past form. They're not there. They're a team like us. That's like us taking McGregor and Davis and that for another year. I give them their last chance at a World Cup.
Nah, I know.
Leave Maguire, you've got Eric Dyer. Do you know what I mean? It's not really much a difference.
There's a big difference. Massive difference. Eric Dyer isn't great, but he's far better than Harry Maguire. He is. Harry Maguire's mince.
So is Eric Dyer. So he's called Dyer.
He's less dire than Harry Maguire. I'll tell you that.
That rhymes. That was brilliant.
I was going to say that. I feel as if I should be eating a fucking Burns supper. I'm fucking all the poetry.
I thought that was quite good for me, Mark. Your thoughts, and then we'll finish up.
Yeah, I'm a wee bit like yourself. I'm not really feeling it at all, and usually I get quite excited about a World Cup. I'm not a big fan of international football, but I like a World Cup. I like a tournament. I like the build up and stuff, and it's just not been one. It's really not been one for me. I'm hoping that I will start getting into it as it goes on and the games start playing. But it's not been I mean, even like the likes of, you've seen some of the videos of the fans areas and stuff like that. Have you seen these mad tents? £175 a day for the worst tent in the world with 2 single beds in it.
Yep.
You need to go outside to have a shower. There's no towels provided for you, and you need to stand in the open air and brush your teeth and wash your face in the mornings. Madness. At £175. They've gave them a wee.
In all
Sorry,
fairness,
they've
there
given
is some absolutely beautiful tartan couches that are moth-eaten out in the middle of the place.
They get breakfast in the morning, but they got a bottle of water with a instant coffee in it, and there's no kettles, there's no way to fill your instant coffee up with hot water. The rooms have no getting any temperature control or like that, so it's just red hot in the mornings when you get up, red hot all day in the tent. Just mad. As I said, for me, it should never have been hosted there. It's just stupidity more than anything.
No, it's bribery. It's bribes.
Well, yeah, 100%. Yes, 100% agree with that. But it's just, for me, it's ruined the World Cup. Absolutely ruined the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to that, and the fact that 2 days beforehand they're telling everybody, by the way, you're not going to. One of our major sponsors is Budweiser, but nobody's drinking in the stadium.
Nobody's allowed to drink at all,
unless you're VIP. Just mad. So I'm hoping I get into it. I'm hoping that as the games start playing and stuff like that. But for me, sentimental old fool, Brazil.
Well, I've got Argentina. I've got Argentina in the sweepstakes. So yeah, I know I just said that I hate the World Cup, but we will be doing World Cup reviews throughout. So maybe it shouldn't be me hosting it. There you go. But yeah, so thank you everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe, and follow on Twitter and Facebook, and share and like, etc., etc. We'll be back. Like I say, members show tomorrow night, the Rangers Women's Football show, and then if nothing happens, which I think it probably will, something will happen. But if it doesn't, we'll be back a week today. So thank you to Mark, Kerr and Ross. Thank you to everybody watching. I appreciate it. Thank you to all our new members, and we shall speak to you all very, very soon.